De Bruyne's injured, Vardy's injured, and now Kane is injured as well, and Son, Salah and Fernandes all blanked in Game Week 21. Should I be keeping all these players in my team or be downgrading them to players like Souček, Gundogan, Saka, who cost just a fraction of their price and are returning much more? Let's have a look at it. So let's start off by having a look at my Game Week 20 transfers. So I had the injured Kevin De Bruyne in my team, so he was a player I had to sell after we were told he'd be ruled out for 4 to 6 weeks, which is probably going to be 6 game weeks of FPL by the time he returned, so he had to leave my team. And in his replace, I bought his teammate Gundogan. So a 14-point return from the German midfielder, absolutely buzzing with this, 2 goals and maximum bonus. He's playing very advanced, he's really playing in the positions I hoped he would, even with the injury to De Bruyne. He hasn't been pulled back, he's getting forward just as much as normal. He's so key to that Man City team at the moment, so I definitely advise buying him at the price of just 5.6 million for this great creative and goal threat midfielder at Manchester City. So let's have a look how this affected my overall team. So in goal we had Martinez. Now Martinez has been very good recently in terms of clean sheets, save points, but this was not one of his best games. Just 1 point away at Burnley. He made a couple of mistakes which led to one of the goals, not saving it when he potentially could have, but I can't hate on Martinez. He's been so good for me so far this season, so we'll let him off this week, but fingers crossed next week he can get something. In terms of the defence, Robertson continues to disappoint. We'll talk about him as a potential transfer out, but that Liverpool defence, especially with injuries to potentially to Matip now and Fabinho as well, I can't continue with Robertson in my defence at his price. Now, the big man of the game week, Cancelo. Any of you out there who own Cancelo, well done. 17 points, a goal, an assist and clean sheets, as well as bonus points. It's a great return from him. He was my vice captain, unfortunately. What could have been, but I was never going to look past who I did captain. And finally, Chilwell. Now, Chilwell picked up a yellow card, but he did get a clean sheet in that 0-0 draw between Chelsea and Wolves. He did get taken off slightly early due to a change in system, which is a slight worry for me that he could potentially not be as nailed as he was before. But if he does playing in that wing back position, it could be a great asset for me going forward. So in terms of my defence, it actually was the cheapest player who scored the most, then the next least expensive, with Robertson being the most disappointing. Next up, into the midfield, new transfer Gundogan came in and was my second highest scoring player of the game week with 14. Now, I've already spoken about him, very happy to have signed him in my team. Not much is going to change, he's going to stay there for the foreseeable future. I don't expect him to be scoring 14 points every single game week, but at the price of just 5.6 million, the way he plays in the Manchester City team, he's a great asset. Now, all my premium midfielders in Salah, Son and Bruno all blanked, and I decided to put the captain armband on Bruno Fernandes with that game against Sheffield United. Now, I'm not pleased with any of these. Son had a goal marginally ruled out for offside. Salah had a goal ruled out just for a handball in a build-up to the play. And then Bruno Fernandes didn't do nearly as much as the others, but not particularly pleased with them. But at the moment, it doesn't feel like there is anywhere else to put my money. With the injuries to Kane and De Bruyne now, they kind of feel like the best 3 premiums at the moment. My final midfielder was Saka of Arsenal. Now, I made the very late decision, as you may have seen, to swap Saka in for Kufal of West Ham. Now, Kufal had Crystal Palace away in the first match of the game week and he returned just 1 point. So I already knew that this was probably going to pay off. Even if Saka blanked and got 2 or 3 points, it was going to pay off. But I didn't expect a goal and an assist from the Arsenal midfielder. He's been a great buy for me in recent game weeks. Him and Gundogan outscoring all of my premium midfielders by quite a lot of points definitely makes me think about where I really should be putting my money, because a lot of these cheap midfielders, some of you will have Souček in there as well, are great assets to own, whereas these premiums are just not returning on their price at the moment. And into the forward line, Watkins returned 6 points and Bamford returned 1. Watkins could have had more and he lost all his bonus points due to Burnley scoring 3 goals. He was through in goal and missed a 1-on-1 chance, but definitely happy with owning Watkins. Aston Villa look great at the moment going forward and Watkins is a focal point of that. Bamford, on the other hand, is very disappointing. Got taken off before the 60th minute and so only returned 1 point. He seems off form. He doesn't seem to be getting as many chances as before. So when we talk about my potential transfers, it might be a player that I look to sell. Although at the moment I might stick it out with him, but I can see why a lot of you might want to sell him. So what did that mean for my overall score? I scored 67 points. It gave me a game week rank of 350k, a very strong, nice game week rank there, moving my overall score up to 1,276 and giving me a nice green arrow from 53k up to 28k. So the red arrow that I saw in the previous game week when I didn't play any chips in game week 19 saw me fall from 32k to 52k. So I've actually regained all of that ground and more. So very pleased with how my game week 20 team did overall. So now having a quick look at how I got on in the FPL Cup. So as we saw, my team returned 67 points. The players on my bench all didn't do anything, so I made the right decisions in who I benched and who I started. And my FPL Cup opponent actually only returned 39 points, so yay, I'm through to the next round. Now I have to say, after the first day I was feeling very happy because my opponent benched both Souček and Benteke, which is 20 points combined. Now, as it turns out, if he'd have started those two players, I would have still qualified by about 5 or 10 points, but still, it was a good start to see that he wasn't getting any of those points. So, through to the next round, let's see who I get matched up against. So, now on to my potential transfers ahead of Game Week 21. So, in terms of the players that I'm looking to transfer out, Chilwell is a slight concern for me just because I don't know if he's going to play every game, although if he is playing at left wing back he could be a great asset. I just worry slightly about the system that Chelsea are going to play, but I suppose it's a wait and see if he does lose his place and then sell him rather than trying to predict what's going to happen in the future. Now, a player that's been on my transfer out for a long time is Robertson. I initially wanted to sell him to free up money. Now, I actually have so much money in the bank, I don't need to do that. But Robertson and Liverpool defensively have been poor. So I just don't see how I can keep him in my team when I've got free transfers and there are defences like Manchester City or Leicester performing much better. And then Brewster, I can potentially upgrade Brewster to start planning for my bench boost in game week 26, upgrade him to another striker, and then change my formation slightly with the money that I've got in the bank. So the potential players that I'm transferring out are Chilwell, Robertson and Brewster, and in their place I'm looking at bringing John Stones of Manchester City as the first one. So either Robertson or Chilwell will likely leave for John Stones. Manchester City have been so good defensively recently, and at just 5.2 million, Stones offers great value, both with clean sheet potential but also the occasional goal, as we've seen. Now, in terms of the forward replacement, I do have enough to do Brewster to Harry Kane. However, we are hearing that Harry Kane is likely to miss the next couple of game weeks, and so I'll probably have to wait on that transfer. That means that Mikel Antonio of West Ham is likely to be my striker replacement. However, with only one free transfer at in the bank, I initially planned to take a -4 to bring in Harry Kane before Brighton. However, Antonio this game week does play at home to Liverpool, so I will have to decide whether I think it's a -4 transfer or I just do my defensive transfer, bringing in John Stones. So to summarise those transfers, it would be Chilwell, Robertson and Brewster out for any of Stones, Kane and Antonio, and at the moment I'm thinking either Chilwell or Robertson to Stones and then Brewster to Antonio for a -4. So if those are the transfers that I plan on making, how will my team actually line up for game week 21? So going on to my game week 1 team preview now. If I make the planned transfers that I expect that I will. So at the moment my plan is to do Robertson and Brewster to Stones and Antonio. I will still be left with a lot of money in the bank, especially with the big downgrade of Robertson to Stones, but I will be investing some of it in Antonio, who's looked very good recently. He did only get an assist against Crystal Palace, but he could have had a couple of goals, couple of assists as well. He was very unlucky not to get more points. So at the moment I'm planning on doing this -4, although I have not made these transfers yet, so it's still a wait and see and decide on which of these transfers I plan on making. So that means that, as always, I will start with Martinez in goal. He has Southampton away in game week 21. Southampton haven't been nearly as good in front of goal, although we know what they are capable of with the likes of Che Adams and Danny Ings in their ranks. But fingers crossed that Martinez can either get a clean sheet or some save points to boost up what he scored in game week 20 with that just 1 point. Into the defence now. It is that Manchester City fixture that I'm looking to target with Stones coming into my team. Stones and Cancelo will both start for me at home to Sheffield United. Sheffield United have actually scored more goals recently than they did at the start of the season, but it's still a game that I expect Manchester City to control. They'll have most of the ball off, and so a clean sheet is still likely for them in that game. And Chilwell, of course, stays in my starting lineup with a home fixture against Burnley. It is a good fixture for them. It's just whether he keeps his name on that starting lineup. It is something that I potentially worry too much about being an owner. If you don't own him, you probably don't think about that. But it's a very good 3 fixtures for my 3 starting defenders in game week 21. Moving on to the midfield now, we have Gundogan of Sheffield United, now my 3rd Manchester City player. He performed very well in game week 21, so happy to see him continuing in my lineup. Manchester City could have 3 double game weeks in game week 24, 26 and 27, which means they play 7 times in the space of 4 game weeks. Now, even if these players don't play every single one of those games, if they have 2 double game weeks in that space, it's still a great team to target. I'm definitely happy to have double defense as well as one of their attackers in the cheap Gundogan in my team going into this strong run of fixtures. Salah stays with West Ham away. He's not been on form and West Ham have defended quite well. They're playing very well at the moment, West Ham, hence why I'm looking to buy Antonio. But Salah, we know what he's capable of. He did score, it was ruled out for handball. He did score twice in the cup. I'm still content with having Salah in my team in game week 21. He's not returning nearly as much, with actually 6 blanks in a row now, but I don't see anyone else who I want instead of him. Even with Mane doing well in game week 20, I still plan on keeping Salah. Son also keeps his place, probably the most nailed player in my team every single game week along with Fernandes. He's so cheap compared to some of these other premiums and is scoring just as many points, so definitely happy to keep Son in my team, especially with a Brighton fixture in game week 21. Bruno, of course, as well, my final midfielder. Arsenal away, who have been better defensively recently, so that will be an interesting game. He did get rested in the FA Cup, so he should be raring to go. Let's see if he can improve on his game week 20 score. Into the forward line, we start with Watkins, who, like Martinez, has Southampton away. Fingers crossed he can continue on his goal scoring form. I've been very happy with what I've seen from Aston Villa and Martinez, so let's keep going with that. Bamford does retain his place, although I do have a slight dilemma on my hands whether I start Bamford with Leicester away or Saka with Manchester United at home. Both of these are good fixtures, good enough fixtures, but not standout fixtures, so we'll have to see which I decide. At the moment, Bamford is getting the nod. And finally, Antonio with Liverpool at home. It is a tough fixture on paper, although Liverpool haven't been good defensively recently, conceding sloppy goals here and there, and I expect Antonio to be up for it, especially with the injuries at centre-back. He's looked very good recently, both in terms of goals and assists, so let's see what Antonio can bring me with his first game week if he does come into my team in game week 21. In terms of captaincy, my vice captaincy at the moment is on Cancelo. He scored a massive 17 points. He finally showed the attacking returns that we thought he could, so he does get the vice captaincy in game week 21. Now, at the moment, I'm planning on putting the armband on Son against Brighton away in game week 21. Now, my initial plan was to do Harry Kane when he came into my team, although with Kane being injured, will it impact how Son performs? At the moment, it's a Son captain and Cancelo vice captain. I don't particularly want to be putting the captaincy on Cancelo, as that will mean I would have 2 Man City defenders including captaincy, and if Sheffield United do score, it would be too much to take. So at the moment, Son is my captain, but again, this could change. I don't really see who I'll move it to, but Son at the moment is my game week 21 captain. And just an update on my Manager of the Month competition for January. So every month I give away a £5 voucher to whoever comes top for that month alone. It doesn't matter what you've done throughout the rest of the season. If you have one good month, you could win this prize. If you are interested in joining, make sure to come to one of my live streams to get the code to join. But good luck to everyone involved, especially those in the top 10, with Albert FC leading the way with a massive 352 points so far in January with just one game week left. So that's all we've got time for in this Game Week 21 video. I hope you've enjoyed this and anything else you've seen on the channel. If you aren't subscribed already, please make sure to do so and smash that like button on this video as well. The easiest and completely free way to support me and the channel is to hit that like button and subscribe. But that's all we've got time for, guys. Good luck in Game Week 21 and I will see you all next time.